Thanks for joining us once again for the City of Maple Grove Report. Dave Kaiser from CCX Media, along with Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
We're going to try to pack 3 hours into 30 minutes, and we think we can do it. A long meeting on December 16th. Also, a lot happening in the city. We'll update you on some of the fun items coming up in just a few minutes. But let's get to that council meeting on the 16th. Begins as always with the open forum, opportunity for public to make some comments, and there was one couple that wanted to make a few comments, and it's a returning issue.
Yeah, so this is still about the sacred settlement proposal up at Church of the Open Door, and so we continue to talk with our legislators and try to encourage residents to reach out to their local legislators. It's really a state matter due to some new legislation that was passed last year, and so we'll continue to monitor this and work with the neighborhood as well as our state legislators. I know there's some meetings coming up in the new year about this topic, so likely to see this one continue on into 2025.
All right, we'll keep you up to date. Next item, very special recognition of service of a council member, Judy Hansen.
Yeah, so this was Judy Hansen's last council meeting after serving nearly 10 years on the city council. She was appointed in 2015 and then elected in 2016 and 2020 to the city council. So very grateful for Judy's service to the city of Maple Grove. She's been a great advocate on the park board liaison for many years, Arbor committee liaison, recently joined the cable commission boards over here at CCX, and then just, very present in the community and connected in the community. She has been sort of an advocate for Special Olympics and has participated in the polar plunge every year with our police department. And so Judy leaves big shoes to fill at the dais, and she will be greatly missed. We wish her all the best. She retired from her private job this year as well with the city of St. Paul. And so we wish her all the best in her retirement and hope to continue to see her around the community.
Very good. Thanks, Judy, for all her service. And then a moment to recognize one other person that doesn't sit out in the open, but sits behind a wall during those council meetings.
But a key part of making it work. So Dave Jorgenson, who is an employee here at CCX Media, retiring after 24 years of service to CCX Media, and has covered the Maple Grove City Council meetings every other Monday evening, basically. And prior to being with CCX, worked at Twin Cities Public Television, starting in 1981. So very long service in the public television kind of realm. So Dave has been sort of the calm presence at the council meetings and will be sorely missed as we go forward. But we know he's been training in the person who's going to replace him. And so we look forward to transitioning and wish Dave all the best in his, I think, what probably is his final retirement now.
Yes, I would think so, right? He's been hanging in there. Thanks, Dave, for all you've done for us. Next is liquor violations, and this was from November 6th time where the police was out making some checks, and give us the update there. Yeah,
so the police department conducted compliance checks with our liquor license holders in early November 7th. We had 5 failures this time. We do have 77 liquor license holders in the city, so 5 out of 77 is, a low number, but still a number that we have concern about. So those that failed this year, Angel's Liquor, which is an off sale, this is their 3rd violation in a 3-year period. So with the 4th violation, it's an automatic revocation. So this is pretty serious for them. Portillo's Hot Dogs, this is their 2nd violation. And then we have Cambria Hotel, Courtyard Marriott, and Residence Inn Spring Hill Suites. Those were the first-time violations. So kind of that hotel service where I think maybe, the management and the training probably needs to be tuned up a little bit. But so the council heard from each of those businesses and dealt, kind of with what the penalty is there. But, again, council takes this very seriously, and we always look at this, what's happening when we're not there. And so if this is happening when we show up to do a compliance check, we're concerned about the other, 364 days a year. So looking for the next round that'll come in the spring, and hopefully we can have 0 failures, but very important issue to the city.
Very good. Next item, public hearings. A few public hearings on the 16th. The first, and this will be a topic we'll talk about a few times, related to LTF Real Estate Company. Again, give us a little background on what this was about.
Yeah, so this is kind of a component of our deal with Lifetime in terms of them, moving out of their existing building and building a new club up by the hospital. So this public hearing for the tax abatement component, there's kind of 3 components of this real estate deal, and I'll get into those a little bit later in the agenda. agenda, but tax abatement is one of those. And so we had opened this public hearing on December 2nd. It was published to be on the December 2nd agenda. We didn't hit that with those agreements, so we opened it and continued it to tonight on December 16th. Presentation is out there. Our financial advisors with Ellers, Stacy Clovang, provided a presentation about how the tax abatement will work. It's basically a 10-year tax abatement, which is really only the city's component of those taxes, which is what we have, authority over, to provide. It really was a component of the real estate deal, if you will. And so not only on the fitness club, but also the associated housing. So hearing was held on that. The agreement is out there. There's a nice summary memo from Ellers out there, as well as you can watch online with the meeting, the PowerPoint presentation that was done. So that hearing was opened and held, and we didn't receive any comments. And so then we'll talk a little bit later about the various agreements that were approved Monday night in the agenda for this real estate deal.
Very good. We'll come back to that in just a second. A second public hearing related to the community center and still cleaning up a little bit of the property there.
Yeah, just one last little easement hanging in there that we needed to vacate and get rid of. So construction continues over there. If you're over that way, you can kind of see the vertical walls are starting to go up of the third sheet of ice, a different kind of brick color. So we're going to start to see that transition and updating of sort of the facade and the image of the building as we move now east through the building in the future. So good to see that project coming along, and then just get this last little easement cleaned up.
And a little work has been done as well on the parkings for the people that are getting ready to go out for hockey games. Now, there is accommodations, but just be prepared to maybe walk a little bit further. Yeah,
and we did add in some additional stalls for the winter. Some of them are not paved, but they're still, a good Class 5 surface. So hopefully we have enough additional parking there to make it work for the winter months.
Let's hop ahead to community and economic development. A few items to touch on here. We've been talking a little bit about the high school and some of the work that they're looking to do. Give us an update on what was discussed at the meeting.
Yeah, so this is the Maple Grove High School, and high schools or schools in a residential district function under a conditional use permit. So this was basically coming back to look at their conditional use permit and accommodate those expansions that they're looking at doing. It's kind of mainly on the north side of the building, a little bit kind of on the south east side, and then the parking and the circulation configuration changes on the north side of the building. And so you'll see the plans are on the website. You can go take a look, but basically there's going to be kind of a circulator road that'll go north of the tennis courts. So if you're familiar with the campus up there, north of the tennis courts connecting into 99th Avenue there that comes across. We are pending a project on Fernbrook Lane that would basically go from 81 down to County Road 30. That was part of a county turnback project. So Fernbrook had been a county project, county road. They've turned it back to the city. They took Maple Grove Parkway. So with that, we got some dollars to improve that roadway. Likely to see at 99th Avenue there some sort of either a roundabout or a signalized intersection, but that'll become another access point into that campus. Yeah, good to see they're making some nice expansion up there to accommodate more student population at the high school, and then kind of reconfiguring that traffic and circulation, adding some parking on that north side, the dome course up there. So lots of fields that are being used for tournaments and whatnot, and so having some additional parking will be a great thing. So they got their approvals. I think they're going to be starting some construction here heading into the spring months at the high school as well.
Very good. We'll keep you up to date as that moves ahead. Next item, Arbor Lakes Business Park building number 9. The work continues in that area.
Yeah, so this is the last building as part of that Arbor Lakes Business Park, the phase kind of on the far west end there up against Lowe's. So this building will sit right up along 694, kind of right next to MSI, between that and Boston Scientific. Sort of very similar architecture to the MSI building. This one's being done by Endeavor, but great to see that phase of, this initial phase of the business park built out there. We just recently saw the sale of 2 buildings out there for really pretty remarkable sales. And even in the Business Journal article, it talked about kind of the value of these buildings, where they're situated in the metro area, the proximity to amenities, restaurants, services, retail, those types of things, that it really makes it an attractive place for business to be for their workers and whatnot. So good to see this being completed out there by Endeavor.
Very good. Next item is upcoming items in community and economic development, and the one item was the retiring of someone who's been around Planning Commission for a long, long time.
Yeah, so Chris Aika has been on the Planning Commission for 20 years, and so he's retiring from his role there. Very grateful for Chris's leadership on the Planning Commission. He has served for vice chair for over a decade of that commission, so he will be missed on the Planning Commission, but we wish him all the best, and we're very grateful for his service, for that many years. Brings a lot of experience and depth to his work there. So we do, with Commissioner Aika's retirement, and then of course Mike Ostafi transitioning to the City Council, which he was elected in November. We do have 2 openings on the Planning Commission. So for those that might be listening, the applications will be open through January 10th. This is just a great opportunity to get involved in shaping sort of development and the future planning for Maple Grove in the next couple of years. We're going to be getting into our next comprehensive plan update, so that's going to be an important role for the Planning Commission. Just a great opportunity. You sort of get that inside baseball of what's happening in the city. You're always informed about what's being built on whatever corner it is, and so just a great opportunity for folks to step up if they're interested in getting involved. And so look for those applications available on our city website. Very
good. MapleGroveMN.gov, the website. Look there for more information. Now to the final step of the budget and administrative items. You crossed the finish line here.
Yeah, so we had our public hearing on December 2nd, so that's kind of that truth and taxation hearing that occurs earlier in the month, and then this is just that final adoption of the budget. So no changes proposed to the budget. There's a nice PowerPoint out on the website about the budget. So we ended at a 6.96% levy increase. Average home in Maple Grove about $435,000. This will be about a $60 increase on the city's portion of the tax bill. Really the big drivers this year are just kind of inflationary pressures on, our benefits, wages, also, the cost of equipment, maintaining facilities, those types of things. So I think hopefully, we've kind of pushed through some of this inflationary pressure here, but I think the council worked real hard to keep that levy increase at that 6.96% and kind of meter that impact to that average home. So lots of information out there on the website about the budget that was adopted. We have budget books available if you're interested in those. That's posted on the city website as well. But this is sort of the final step, and now that'll get certified to the county here before the end of the year.
And speaking of budgets, now had to go to the EDA meeting because they have a few budgets to deal with as well. Tell us about those.
Yeah, so our EDA, every year we set an EDA levy of $150,000, and that helps to support some economic development as well as our housing programs. Within that, the city does have 2 different housing portfolios. We have a scattered site, 28 units throughout the city, affordable housing. We're doing some rent increases there. We continue to see, just increasing costs on utilities, maintenance, their aging homes, that type of thing. And so council discussed the budget there for the scattered site program. And then the second action was with regard to Woodland Mound Senior. So we own an 88 unit senior housing building over on Rice Lake. Kind of the same situation. We continue to see growing, maintenance costs. That building's over 30 years old now. And so preparing for bigger, items, systems, roofs, those types of things. So council dealt with the budgets for both of those housing programs as well as that standard, we've had that same $150,000 levy since 1999. So that was set again as well as part of this budget process.
And that was the EDA. Now back to the council meeting, and now back to those items about Lifetime Fitness and the future of that area and also the area up by the hospital. So again, try to break it down as best you can for us.
Yeah, and I think our consultant Stacy Cloving started this presentation well, saying, these things take time, right? So we have been in discussion with Lifetime Fitness for probably, 5+ years here about what their future plans were in Maple Grove, and then related to, the city's goals around the community center and the municipal campus. In the middle of that, probably a 2.5-year timeout for the pandemic, wondering, geez, are people ever going to go back to a gym again? What's the future future of a Lifetime type operation? What's the future of community centers? So it took us a while to kind of come out of that. And then after that, we were dealing with, just inflationary costs on building and interest rates and those types of things. So it's taken a while to flush out all of those issues to a point where you could come to agreement on a deal. So this has been a long time coming. Just the general outline structure of this deal is it's a real estate exchange. And so the city will acquire 17.5 acres of land up in the Minnesota Health Village project, which is kind of the hospital area.
Right.
So the land is just due west of Home Depot, kind of north of that ring road up against 610. We'll be acquiring that with Ryan Companies. Ryan is the developer out there. The deed for that land will go into an escrow along with the deed to the Lifetime property, the existing property there along Weaver will go into an escrow before the end of the year here. And then Lifetime will have a year from that point till the end of 2025 to come in with their final plans for their development. The city will have, need to review and approve those plans. The only condition under which the deeds would not exchange at the end of 2025 is if the city fails to approve those plans. So if Lifetime fails to bring plans in, the deeds still exchange. They'll get the land, we get the club. At the end of 2025, a clock starts and they have 3 years on a lease there. They will become a tenant in that building, their existing building, and during which time they would be building their new club and proceeding with that project to relocate to the Minnesota Health Village. So likely, they could move along quicker and that 3 years would get shortened up, and there's that's anticipated in the agreements that we could accommodate that. So that's kind of the real estate exchange component of this deal. The other two financial components is sort of the special assessments. So sort of those infrastructure costs on their site up there, that 17.5 acres would get waived by the city. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the tax abatement deal. So that tax abatement is worth about $3.7 million over a 10-year time frame. So it all kind of rolls up into about a $17.5 million value to this real estate transaction with Lifetime, but secures the space, their existing club, to become part of the community center project and kind of completes the municipal campus there up along Weaver and down towards Town Green and into the government center. So long time in coming and a very complicated real estate deal, but we're grateful that we were able to come to agreement. Maybe just one other final mention, there is a deed restriction that runs along with this that kind of talks about, that we won't go into direct competition with Lifetime, which has never been our intent. We intend to operate this as a municipal community center, but we do, the deed restriction does recognize that we have user agreements, those types of things. So I think the council landed being, comfortable with that language. So good to have this approved. This deal needed to get done in 2024.
Right.
Things would have timed out here in 2025 with our deal with Ryan and whatnot. So kind of a lot of time gates in here that were met getting this done on December 16th. So we'll get these documents were executed up yesterday. We'll look to get closed with Ryan here in the coming few days, and then we'll watch to see Lifetime come in the new year with their plans and start to formulate their plans to get going with construction.
Very good. All right. We'll keep watching because we'll follow that process as it moves along. Speaking of the community center, let's talk about phase 1. That was on the agenda as well, to talk about a few changes to that. Tell us about those.
Yeah. So Osseo Maple Grove Hockey Association came back and they wanted to, we had shelled out some dry land space in the new arena, kind of on the lower level near the new arena. They came back and wanted to finish that out, so they're taking on an obligation of about $253,000. They're already in for that arena for about $4.2 million of capital costs, and so this adds another about $250,000 to that to fit out that dry land space that Omega will have some use rights to. So that was something that was timely to the construction, needed to get that inserted to get that change order in there. The other piece is we will, at the end, when we get the other sheet open, hopefully by next October, then we'll transition and we'll be doing some renovation on the TCO rink. So the first rink there on the far east end. replacing sort of the rink foundation and the cooling systems, those types of things, but also changing it from an Olympic to an NHL size rink, which has long been a discussion.
Yes.
The Olympic rink really isn't common anymore, and so I think there was a lot of users that wanted to transition to that NHL, so there's consistency, no matter where you go, to play play hockey, or for the figure skating world as well. This will work too. So that's going to get added on to sort of the tail end of that arena project. And then a lot of discussion about the pavilion, the Lions Pavilion. That pavilion is going to be moving kind of south and west on the campus over there, more towards the lake, with a view shed to the lake. If you've looked from sort of the government side back to the community center, we've really graded into that lake a little bit and opened up the view shed to the lake. We really want to take advantage of the beautiful, amenities on the back side of this building as we transition through this renovation and expansion. So this one did not get through the process here on Monday night, so we're planning to come back, a little more information on kind of the design and then the funding components, and this will likely come back to the January 21st council meeting. So that one got shelved to a future date.
All right. Last item was the legislative agenda, and also working with a contractor on some legislative work. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we're getting ready for the 2025 legislative session. Starts January 14th. We'll have 4 specific bills this year. One is for the funding for the 169 Elm Creek Boulevard interchange project. We're really working hard with MnDOT right now with that bridge strike that happened last fall, really trying to drive them towards, let's do the final solution, not a repair. Let's put those dollars towards a new interchange. So we're going to continue to push at the legislature to try to get those dollars lined up. TIF district, the gravel mining area TIF district, some timeline extensions there. Gives us a little bit more time to get projects in the district, and then timeline on the overall TIF district itself. Community center, we received $6 million in state bonding towards that project. The language talked about planning and design. We're going back to add the word construct to that so that we can hopefully utilize all that $6 million towards the project. And then pretty routine process for cities on projects of the size of a community center, large projects, is to go get a sales tax exemption from the state for that, for the materials. So that will be in the tax bill process as well. So 4 specific bills, a lot of supporting statements in that legislative agenda, all available in the packet out there if you want to go take a look. But kind of give staff our marching orders for the legislative session, what we can work on. And then, of course, the contract with Lockridge Grindle now, and we work with Ann Lincheski down at the state legislature.
Right. All right. A lot of activity there in the last moments. And then final note, we've got some dates that City Hall and the Government Center will be closed coming up.
Yeah, so the Government Center will be closed starting at noon on Christmas Eve, Tuesday, December 24th, all day on Wednesday, December 25th, and then of course closed on New Year's Day, Wednesday, January 1st.
All right, there you have it. Well, we made it in about 23 minutes, a 3-hour meeting, so we did pretty well there. Let's go over some of the other things that are coming up in the city. One note is the winter newsletter is out, and a lot of great information inside.
Yeah, so this newsletter is packed with all of the types of things that you need for the winter months, lots of programs and fun activities through February. It's available on city website. You should have received a paper copy at your home as well.
Something you might not be aware of in the city is watersheds, and there is one opening on a couple watersheds. Tell us about this and what you're looking for.
Yeah, so this is for the Shingle Creek and West Mississippi Watershed Management Commission, and so we're seeking a new member to serve Maple Grove. This is a little bit of a unique one. It meets during the day, so you kind of have to have some flexibility with your schedule and be available during that time. Meetings are held monthly on the second Thursday over the lunchtime at the Plymouth Community Center. This is kind of a particular thing. Being on a watershed, you deal with a lot of water management issues, storm drainage, those types of things, wetlands, those types of regulations. So maybe having some background in that area isn't a bad thing. But if you have specific questions, you can contact Derek Ashe in our engineering department, and he he's the staff liaison to the watershed, kind of walk that through with you. So we're hoping to get some applications here and make an appointment in the first quarter of 2025.
We've been passing along information about the bus rider survey, and we want to keep that information going. How is that going along? And again, how can people participate?
Yeah, so we have maplegrovetransit.org. That survey is available out there, and we're just looking for your feedback on sort of commuter service as well as the the local MyRide transit service as well.
All right, we're getting to the deadline here of the toy drive. Last couple days to do it. If you're watching this real early, you can still get in on it.
Yeah. Thursday, December 19th.
Yes,
so
coming up.
That's tomorrow.
That is tomorrow.
I was just thinking about that. So Cross Services is collecting those toys available at the Government Center, Community Center, and the Police Department.
Speaking of police, looking for police reserves, so a great opportunity to get involved in the city in maybe a different way.
Yeah, so this is kind of a volunteer arm of our police department. They provide a lot of support for various, public community events, that type of a thing. Applications are available on our city website, and then they are provided with training by the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office in preparation for that work as a police reserve.
Another public safety related note, National Night Out. Yes, it was a long ways away, but we have some information about it and maybe a little looking forward as well.
Yeah, so we were awarded number 2 spot in the nation for 50 to 100,000 population, only next to Brooklyn Park,
right.
Who took first place. So that's great. Congratulations to them this year. But just a great event this year. We had a huge turnout at the August 6th event at Central Park. So we are now in preparation for National Night Out 2025, which is always the first Tuesday in August.
Yep, if you have questions, give Todd and the group a call there. Domestic Violence Awareness, again, a campaign underway in the city you wanted to mention once again.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of social media billboards going just at this time of the year. Domestic violence becomes, even a more important issue. Just wanting folks to be aware as they gather with family and friends, what the common signs are of domestic violence, and know that there are resources out there. Minnesota Day One Crisis Line, lots of information on our Facebook page, website, and then billboards as well to let folks know they're not alone and to reach out for any help.
Let's touch now on a few recreation things in the city. A lot of ways to get involved and have some fun. And the first way to find out all the things happening is through the activity guide that is available.
Yeah, so that winter edition of the Parks and Recreation Activity Guide is available on the city website. So that covers all the programs throughout the winter. Encourage people to seek that out. Just also our outdoor skating. We're hoping to have those outdoor rinks ready here in the next couple of weeks. This cold weather has helped us out. Yep, so that's good. But the loop is open. Skating is free. We have skates for rental and concessions, and it has been very, very busy over there. So,
yes.
But a great thing to take in during the holiday season.
All right, if you want to stay inside, here's a couple ways to do that. Indoor pickleball, where can we play? Yeah,
so the community center has day passes for pickleball. Also, we have a pickleball membership there, and then the sports dome is open for walking for different hours during the weekday and then also weekends. So check the website for those hours. Sometimes it depends on the activities that are scheduled there, but great indoor walking, 55 degrees, no slips and falls inside the dome.
All right, if you're watching this early again, you might get in on this, the farmers market, last indoor time.
Yeah, tomorrow afternoon, December 19th over at the community center, 3 to 6 p.m. We always have lots of great vendors leading into the holiday weeks.
Yes, so make sure you stop by and look ahead. Here's something that you get you thinking, spring community garden. Remind us what that is and something important coming up in January.
Yeah, so the community garden at Donahue North Park was a wild success, and so we're adding 30 raised garden plots at Lakeview Knolls Park as well this coming summer. So open spots are filled by a lottery system, and those are open between January 6th and the 31st. That's available on our website. So if you're interested in a community garden plot now at Lakeview Knolls, be sure to check that out on the city's website.
All right, we'll give you that website in a second, but there you go, Heidi. We packed it all in.
We did.
We made it. Mission accomplished. Here's that next meeting date and also more information about the city's website. Next meeting will be in January, on January 6th, 7:30 at the Government Center. Lower left, maplegrovemn.gov. Again, a lot of information there from the meeting that happened on the 16th and also a lot about things going on in the city. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us on the City of Maple Grove Report.